Hi guys! I have another Copic colouring and card tutorial for you today, and happy Australian Day! And just because it's Australian Day, I've chosen to colour this Kangaroo and Joey by Make It Crafty. And isn't he cute? You will see during this colouring that I sometimes come in with a white pen. That is my colourless blender, and I use it to move the colour back into Mr. Joey, as I have a tendency to colour outside the line sometimes. That happens. But yeah, I'm not gonna go that much into detail in the colouring. I'm gonna leave you here with some music, and I'll see you when the colouring is done. Now we have our little kangaroo all cut out, and we are going to put the card together. And we are using some papers from the My Mind's Eye paper pack called Remarkable. Really like this kind of muted earthy colors, and I thought it would be perfect for an Australian Day card. So we are going to start by cutting the paper pieces down. And we're actually starting with the card base, which is a piece of Nina Desert Storm. I'm cutting it just in half so that I can get a card base from that. Then I'm using some dark chocolate cardstock from Simon's Stamp. We're going to cut that down to 5 3/8, so that it would be a good mat, and then we're going to cut that down to 4 1/8. We're actually going to do the inside of this card, so we are cutting another mat the same size for 4 1/8. So we have both our mats. We are going to cut this paper down. Now we are going to have it in landscape mode, this specific card. So I'm going to cut this paper, which has beautiful waves, at 4 inches, so that I get the waves horizontally, and then I'm going to cut that down to 5 1/4, and that is going to be our first mat on the first page, like this. Then I am going to take this yellow cardstock, and we are just going to cut a little strip, which is going to be about 1.5 inches by 5 1/4. We are also taking some other of this dark, nice cardstock, and we're going to cut that down to a 1 5/8 piece, and that is going to be 5 1/4 too, actually. I had to figure that out. So the front page will look something like this. You can see it's going to be lovely. It's going to be awesome. And he's good there. Then I am going to see if I have enough. Yes, I do. I'm going to cut this to 4 inches by 5 1/4. So we're just inverting the color on the inside. I'm going to cut this little strip down to 1 1/2 inch. By 5 1/4. And then I'm taking another strip of this brown cardstock, and we're gonna cut that at 1 5/8 by 5 1/4. So now I have the same mats and layers, just inverted for the inside. That. We're still gonna do a sentiment, and we're gonna write Happy Australian Day. And we're gonna use both stamps and some of these really cute chippies. These are Make It Crafty Alpha Mini Caps. They are laser cut chipboard, and they are teeny tiny, but I really, really like these. So we are gonna put together a happy day in Australian, and we're gonna do that sentiment on some craft cardstock to keep with like the earthy idea. First we're gonna stamp the sentiment, and then we are going to cut it down and then add the chippies, because it's awesome that way. We're gonna use the happy here and the day here. This set is called Essential Greetings, and it's by Simon Says Stamp. Most of my greeting stamps are, or sentiment stamps. And then we're gonna kind of put them together. We're gonna use a stamp block. We are first kind of figuring out how this is going to be basically full length, because I'm gonna add it on top of that. So I'm gonna see how much I need day and happy, where I want them to be basically. So we're gonna start with some VersaFine Onyx Black on this. I'm gonna just take that. Yay! I actually did just stamp up that one. And then I add that to the edge here. Then I'm taking the happy stamp, wing that up, and we add that right over here. This is a little wider than 1 1/4, so we're going to take it at 1 3/8. Which I really, really like. So this is 1 3/8. That should fit perfectly on that, but we are not going to put it on that. We are going to cut a more of a piece of cardstock here. I'm going to cut that to make sure that it's wide enough. It's going to be 5 1/4. That is actually the exact size that I needed to be, and it was going to cut it at 1 1/2. So it's going to be at the same size as the orange piece. I'm going to cut this down to 5 1/4, like that. And that is all our cutting and pieces for the card. Then we are going to score our card base in the middle. But we are going to fold it horizontally. So landscape mode. Take our little tape bit here, and we're gonna start putting it together. I really like this paper pad because all the colors is a bit muted, so it actually works very good both for male and female recipients. And I really like, even though I believe that both male and female can have any colors they want, still a little hesitant about sending pink cards to male people because you don't know how they are, if they would like it. And I'm a little bit, I don't do things because I do things because I like it, but I do try to do things that other people would like if I'm sending them to them, because then they will keep them. Like that. We are also going to put the inside layers together. Now this yellow paper is actually light enough to write on, and therefore I won't put a writing piece in. But if you're not gonna, if I wouldn't use it myself, it wasn't for me to send away to someone, I would add some sort of white paper in the middle. I'm gonna add this sort of to the middle, so we have about the same amount both top and bottom, because that is how we're going to do this one. The difference is we're going to have a big sentiment on it. So I'm going to start by putting it in the middle here, somewhat in the middle. Then Mr. Joey here is going to be there, so I'm going to put this one above his head, because then it won't cover up the happy. Go and put it here. Try to line that up a bit. Then we have Mr. Kangaroo here. That's the little Joey. So I'm not saying the wrong things, I'm just mixing them two up, because that's the way I do it. If you had something flat that coordinated with our little Joey or our little kangaroo, you could put that on the inside to kind of enhance it. Right now I don't, but maybe a little flower or something that is a little bit Australian. Then we're going to use some foam tape, and this isn't my last roll. I have a new one, but I don't have that much left. I'm going to do this because I probably will use it anyway. I am just adding a bunch of this onto this card. It all depends on how you're going to send this card. If you're not going to send it through the mail, you can actually just have teeny tiny of this. If you want to send it through the mail, you want a little bit more. And most of my cards go through the mail, so then I choose to add a little bit more of this foam tape so that it actually sticks down, and preferably kind of not buckle down into this. Just gonna do this. But before I put him on, I'm actually just gonna add some tape to the back side of this card, because it's easier when you don't have all of the embellishment on. And then you just add it like this. Gonna add our little kangaroo to the corner here, like that. And then we are gonna get our little letters on. So taking these teeny tiny layers out of this little board, I do that by just cutting off a little thing that keeps them in this, which is really good. So now I'm starting to have holes. Well, we are going to glue this down. We're going to use some Studio Matte because it dries clear, so it's really good glue to do this. Also, I'm going to use a small brush, I think. Yes, this little brush, it's actually just a little tiny brush, and then we're going to do all the letters. And I think I'm going to use a little pincette because otherwise this won't work for me. So I think I'm going to put them in the backwards order because I want it to end over there. I'm going to keep them in the natural color, but I'm going to add some glossy accents over them so that they stand out a little bit more. But I kind of like the natural color of the cardboard that it is in. They are tiny though, they're a little bit fiddly. And one of the really good thing with this multimedia matte is that I can fiddle around a little, and if the glue happens on the side of it, you won't really see it. Because, as I said, it dries clear. Don't need that much, I actually poured out way too much on my little piece here, but it's good to have. Then I take my glossy accent to fill in these really tiny letters. And you have to be very careful with the glossy accents here so you don't have it all outside. But I am not really caring if I get it like in the big part of the A, because it's okay. Just trying to keep it as much at the letters as possible and as little as possible somewhere else. And that is all the glossy accents onto my letters. As I usually say, it is a little bit foggy right now, but it will dry clear. And that's the card for today. If you have any questions, just comment down below. Down below you have the description also, where you can find all the materials, and a link to my blog and this blog post where you can find more photos and other details. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.